Scotia watersheds recovering from decades of acid rain. Lakes damaged by acid rain are coming back to life in Nova Scotia faster than anyone expected, and the recovery has added expenses for Halifax Water. As acid levels in the lakes drop, there's an increase in the number of organisms, like algae, that are in the water. That means more chemicals are needed to remove organic matter from lake reservoirs to make the water safe to drink. The cost of the chemicals is escalating by $400,000 yearly, according to Halifax Water. It's created enormous challenges from the standpoint of water utilities, particularly utilities like Halifax Water, that are used to treating lakes that have been acidified, said Graham Gagnon, director of the Dalhousie University Centre for Water Resources Studies. Gagnon's research indicates stricter sulfur dioxide emission standards and the closure of coal plants in the US and Canada have had a dramatic effect on watersheds in Nova Scotia. Because of prevailing winds, the province has been described as the end of the tailpipe for some pollutants. Graham Gagnon of the Dalhousie University Centre for Water Resources Studies has done research that indicates stricter sulfur dioxide emission standards and the closure of coal plants in the US and Canada have dramatically impacted watersheds in Nova Scotia. CBC, aquatic life is coming back, said Gagnon. Sulfate concentrations dropped by 52% in Lake Major between 1999 and 2015, and by 38% in Pocwock Lake, according to a 2016 paper by Dalhousie University's Lindsay Anderson that's published in the journal Environmental Science and Technology. Lake Major and Pocwock Lake are the sources of drinking water for most of Halifax. Both are isolated and free from wastewater or industrial or agricultural discharges. Gagnon calls that a significant reduction. One of the gauges of lake health are pH levels, which measure alkalinity. The lower the pH, the higher the acidity. One of the gauges of lake health are pH levels, which measure alkalinity. CBC. In 2002, the pH level was below 5 for 153 days at Lake Major, according to the Anderson paper. From 2010 to 2015, it measured below 5 for just 10 days. In 2005, the pH at Pocwock Lake was under 5 for 162 days. Between 2010 and 2015, pH was below 5 on just 7 days. Halifax Water said the changing water quality requires more testing, monitoring and chemicals. It is now costing more to treat drinking water for 365,000 Halifax Water customers. CBC, are we happy there is less acid rain in Nova Scotia and Atlantic Canada? Yes, we are. Are there side effects of that? There sure are, and we are dealing with it, said Halifax Water spokesperson James Campbell. This year, Halifax Water issued a request for proposals that forecast its treatment plant at Lake Major in Dartmouth would use 1,000 kilograms a day of the coagulant aluminium sulfate to clot organic matter. James Campbell, a spokesperson for Halifax Water, says there are side effects of less acid rain in Nova Scotia and Atlantic Canada, and we are dealing with it. CBC, Gagnon estimates Lake Major now uses 5 times more coagulant, and Pocwock twice as much since the lakes have recovered. The filtering process is producing correspondingly large amounts of alum sludge that is dried into large holding pits behind the Lake Major plant before it is hauled off-site for disposal. The plant's filters were not designed for current volumes. Campbell said Halifax Water has had to flush the filters more often because they get jammed, and it has installed a system to scour the filters more often. That's an added expense too, he said. Graham Gagnon and the team at Dalhousie University are working to date the sediment at the bottom of Lake Major and Pocwock Lake. CBC, Gagnon said he tuned into lake recovery in 2012 when some people in Halifax and Bedford noticed an earthy, musty taste and odor in their tap water. It was geosmin, a non-toxic chemical produced by algae and soil-based bacteria. In 2012, geosmin showed up for the first time ever in Pocwock Lake, which supplies drinking water for the Halifax side of the municipality. It's an indicator of algal activity. We couldn't understand why it was there. "We thought maybe it's just an anomaly," said Gagnon. "But each year, it comes back. Every fall we smell a slightly different odor." Gagnon and the team at Dal are working to date the sediment at the bottom of Lake Major and Pakwak Lake. They are looking for aquatic life that existed in the lakes before the arrival of acid rain. The budget for chemicals to remove organic matter from lake reservoirs is escalating by $400,000 a year, every year, says Halifax Water's